You ever have that one neighbor who acts like the world is her personal vending machine and you're the coin slot? Mine's named Cheryl. Not literally, of course, but if you've ever dealt with a self-appointed monarch of the cul-de-sac, someone who treats HOA rules like scripture and assumes your property is a shared utility, you know exactly the kind of Cheryl I'm talking about. Let me paint the picture. I live in a modest 2-story duplex at the far end of our neighborhood. Just me, my tools, my half-finished garage projects, and, most recently, one sweet level 2 EV charger I installed right next to my front steps. It's discreet, wired directly into my meter, nestled behind a waist-high hedge, and it's for my car, a used plug-in hybrid I affectionately named Bolt. Efficient, reliable, mine. Then there's Cheryl. Cheryl drives a Tesla Model Y, pearl white of course, with a vanity plate that reads GR3N4LL. No joke. I first noticed her car parked a little too close to my hedge, then saw the charger cable snaking from my setup into her Tesla like a parasitic vine. One morning, while sipping my usual porch coffee, I witnessed her car boot up while jacked into my charger. No knock, no text, just casually stealing electricity like it was a communal garden hose. "Cheryl," I called out, approaching her car. "Did you mean to plug into my charger? It's not public." She blinked at me like I'd asked her to hand over a kidney. "Oh, sweetie," she said, flapping her acrylic nails like I was the naive one. Neighbors share. It's called community spirit. Apparently, in Cheryl's world, if I left my garage door unlocked, she'd be entitled to my power tools too. I stayed polite, explained it was privately installed, tied to my personal meter, and definitely not for public use. She gave me that tight-lipped smile, equal parts condescension and dismissal, unplugged her car, and said, "Well, maybe you should put up a sign," as if that made her right. 2 nights later, she did it again. Then again. She waited until I was asleep or out. My motion cameras caught her tiptoeing through the hedges like a raccoon in yoga pants. Except this raccoon wasn't stealing cat food. She was siphoning kilowatts. I left a polite note on the charger. She responded with a passive-aggressive one taped to my door. "Disappointed in your lack of generosity. Thought we were a community." With a smiley face. Classic emotional blackmail. The HOA? Useless. Resolve it among yourselves, they said. Translation: we're too busy measuring mailbox heights. So I stopped warning and started planning. My buddy, Marcus, is a genius with electronics. This is the guy who once built a remote-controlled fog machine synchronized to the Imperial March for Halloween. I gave him the breakdown. I wanted a 2-mode switch. One mode charged my car. The other? I wanted it to look like it was charging, but actually drain any car plugged into it. "Drain it?" he repeated, eyes lighting up like I'd handed him a government contract for a moon laser. "Yup." Slowly. Nothing obvious. Just reclaim my electrons. We created a Frankenstein system. Hidden switch in my garage, dual circuits, one for real charging, one rigged to send the current into a hidden battery bank tucked behind shelves. It wouldn't kill a car battery, just nibble away, subtle, sneaky, relentless. Marcus even added a fake LED charging indicator that always glowed green. Psychological seasoning, he called it. Then I printed and laminated a warning sign. Private charger. Do not use without permission. Unauthorized use may result in unexpected results. Just big enough to be petty, not confrontational. I placed it right by the charger. 2 days later, Cheryl returned. Around 10:45 p.m., I got the ping from my security cam. Her Tesla rolled up stealthily. She glanced at the sign and smirked. Of course. For people like Cheryl, rules are dares. She plugged in and reclined in her seat like she just conquered Everest. From inside my garage, I flipped the switch. Drain mode, activated. She stayed parked until morning. By the time she drove off, I had already flipped the switch back. Her battery had less range than when she arrived. 2 days later, she came back. Again. She plugged in. Again. Same smug grin. Again. And I didn't wait. I hit drain mode the moment I heard the cable click. This time, we logged the data. Marcus added a tracker to record how much power was being drained. That night, 3.4 kilowatt hours. Not huge, but enough for poetic justice. She had unknowingly donated about $1.12 to my power reserve. Next morning, Cheryl marched up my steps, arms crossed. "Is your charger broken?" "Nope," I said, not looking up from my tablet. "My car says it was charging, but my range went down." "Huh," I replied. "Maybe your cable's bad. Teslas can be quirky." She frowned, clearly unsatisfied with not having a proper argument. Well, she said, sharing is a two-way street. And so is asking before using things that aren't yours. She huffed off like a toddler denied extra screen time. That night, she plugged in again. Another 3.8 kilowatt hours. The system beeped like it was clapping. But Cheryl wasn't done. 3 days later, I woke to shouting. She was in front of my driveway, waving her phone. She shrieked. You stole my electricity. She claimed Tesla service had detected external discharge from the charger port. I raised an eyebrow. Weird. Didn't know that was possible. Don't play dumb. I gestured to the laminated sign still taped to the charger. Well, the sign did say unexpected results. She threatened to call the police. Please do, I said. I'll grab the security footage. She paused. Realization dawned. Her rage turned a delicate shade of defeated beat. She spun on her heel and stormed away. You forgot to unplug, I called after her. That night, I tallied the numbers. Cheryl had donated about 11 kilowatt hours, roughly $4.42 in reclaimed energy. Small price for poetic revenge. But she wasn't done. She returned, this time trying to hide the cable behind her garbage bin. Like this was a heist. I let her. Flip drain mode again. We added a new sign. Caution, experimental energy recovery in use. Unauthorized use may result in power loss. With a smiley face. Next morning, Cheryl was back. More screaming. This isn't legal. You used it again, even after the signs. It's not binding. You literally plugged into something marked private. That's like ignoring a keep out sign, walking into someone's fridge, and getting mad the milk was sour. She called the cops. Officer Reyes showed up this time. New guy. Cheryl ranted. I calmly explained everything, showed him the setup, the video logs, the signs. You installed a switch that drains unauthorized plugins? He asked. Only manually. And it's clearly marked. He looked at Cheryl. Did you plug in without permission? I thought it was public. On his property. With warnings. And footage. She sputtered. He turned to me. Want to press charges? Tempting. So tempting. But I declined. I didn't want jail. I wanted her acknowledgement. And she just handed me that in front of an officer. That should have ended it. It didn't. She returned, hood up, plugging in at 2 a.m. like she was infiltrating Area 51. I flipped the switch. Left it on all night. By morning, her Tesla was dead. Like, flatlined. She stood in front of it like Hamlet with a broken smartphone, devastated and confused. Eventually, she tried to push it home. Literally. It was beautiful. Then came the letter, certified mail, cursive script, 3 pages of unhinged accusations. She claimed I'd hacked her Tesla, violated energy sovereignty, and demanded $372 in damages. I nearly choked on my lunch laughing. I sent her a formal reply, signed in blue ink. Dear Cheryl, your repeated, unauthorized use of a privately marked energy system has been well documented via video, signage, and eyewitness testimony. Should you choose to pursue legal action, I'd be happy to provide evidence, footage, and relevant law to support my case. Warmest regards. The owner of the charger you keep stealing from. She tried one more time. Marcus had rigged a light display and sound effects, red LEDs, and a dying battery tone. When she plugged in, it was like a Tesla horror film. She shrieked. I nearly fell over laughing. And then, again, she called the police. Again. This time, both officers watched the footage, listened to her scream, "You're sucking my Tesla dry," and warned her to stay off my property. You'd think that would be it. It wasn't. She filed a formal complaint to the HOA, claimed I was operating an illegal energy station and creating a hostile environment for electric car owners. They scheduled a review. I showed up with diagrams, logs, screenshots, and a PowerPoint titled Unauthorized Charging Events, a timeline. Cheryl showed up with a highlighter and misplaced confidence. I presented, ending with the now infamous audio clip. The room went silent. Then Bob, the guy 2 doors down, snorted so hard he spilled his coffee. Turns out, he's on the HOA board. 3 days later, I got their verdict. No violations found. Please consider relocating the charger further from the sidewalk for clarity. Thank you for your detailed presentation. And Cheryl? She's gone quiet. Her Tesla now charges via a sad-looking extension cord from her living room window. Oh, and Marcus made me a trophy, a 3D printed charger port with a glowing LED that reads energy recovered, 21.6 kilowatt hours, courtesy of Cheryl. Mounted right next to my breaker box. The charger is still there. The sign is still up. And the switch? Always ready. Because the trap stays charged for the next Cheryl who thinks the world is her vending machine.